business is built to break you. And here's the truth they don't want you to hear. You know, when people think about the music business, they picture red carpets, guitars on private jets, and a crowd of adoring fans screaming your name. But what they don't see is the back of the van at 3 a.m. after a gig that paid barely enough to cover the gas to the next one. They don't see the hotel floor you crash on because the exposure gig didn't come with a check. They don't see the burnout, the mental toll, the quiet moments when even seasoned pros start wondering, am I still chasing a dream, or am I just being chewed up and spit out by the machine? The truth is, this industry was never designed to nurture musicians. It was designed to use them, to drain every drop of creativity, passion, and energy until you're just another burnt out name on a poster that once said, next big thing. You start off wanting to make art, but before long, you're managing algorithms, chasing clicks, and trying to stay relevant in a world that scrolls past in 3 seconds. And man, do I know it. It's not just hard, it's inhuman. And yet we stay. We keep playing. We keep bleeding through our fingertips for a shot at something real. Because that's what musicians do. We love this thing, even when it doesn't love us back. So today I'm pulling the curtain back. No hype, no PR fluff, just the real truth about how this business grinds people down and how to fight back, survive, and stay you in the process. Because in the end, if you can walk through the fire and still make honest music, that's the real definition of success. The myth of the dream. Everyone wants the stage, but nobody talks about the price of admission. Now, if you're going to be what I would call an old school musician these days, someone that actually works on their craft, someone that actually sits in a room and hones their skills, somebody who writes their own lyrics, somebody who cooks up their own licks, their own grooves, their own songs, then you're going to spend hours upon hours upon hours for years developing your craft. Is that the price of admission? Even if you do all that, even if you put in the time and you also have amazing natural ability, even if you have a extreme level of talent for it, that's not going to be enough to make it. For every Grammy that you see, every platinum record on somebody's wall, there's a graveyard of broken guitars behind it, right? And for as many people that get a chance to live the dream, there are many more with broken dreams behind it. There is an illusion of overnight success. It's usually 10 years and 10,000 heartbreaks. You might see somebody come out of nowhere and blow up and become a huge success. But what you don't see is all the years of struggle and practice and work and networking and doing all those things to get to that point. Nobody sees that. All you see is all of a sudden this bright new face out on the scene. But man, let me tell you something. Nothing is overnight. The system will suck you dry. Record labels, streaming platforms, and even social media, all designed to extract value. Now look, man, I am in that rat race myself here on social media. And, instead of me trying to blow up as a player and trying to, let's say, sell my own songs and look, I'm past my best buy date. So the best thing that I can do right now is be on here and giving people the dose of reality. And for those of you out there that have been out there doing it, doing the grind every weekend, the weekend warriors, and all those who have been in the business for decades, I get emails all the time from people saying, man, finally somebody is out there telling the truth. And man, look, the reality is this. The house always wins. And in the casino of the music business, your soul is the chips. And here is the real kicker. Mental health and financial struggle go hand in hand for musicians. And if you don't think there's a mental struggle when you're struggling to survive, it's both physical and mental when you can't make ends meet, when you don't know how you're going to pay your bills, when you can't afford the things that you want to create your creative art, right? I saw a recent video on the band Korn, right? And this is a little personal story thrown into this mix, but I can remember being at Guitar Center when I was still out in LA, right? And, I was trying to think of the next thing. What is going to be the next thing? And that is a big part of the music business, is trying to predict what is going to be hot in a year or 2 years. But you don't want to be so far ahead of the game that you create something that, oh, he was ahead of his time. But meanwhile, he languished in obscurity. I can remember going in Guitar Center and seeing the first Steve Vai, I believe it was the Gem 7, the first 7-string rock guitars. And they were up on the wall at Guitar Center. And I thought, man, nobody is doing this funk, hard rock thing that I'm doing. If I had that lower string, I could start writing all of this new music that people hadn't heard yet. And of course, Steve Vai had put out his own music using the 7-string. But I looked at that instrument up on the wall and said, man, if I could just get my hands on one of those, the same way that I would look at the Les Pauls on the wall and think, man, if I could just get my hands on one of those, the music that I could create on that. But that 7-string, I knew this was probably going to be the next thing. And sure enough, the band Korn somehow got their hands on those 7-string guitars and decided to write all of their music using that low B string as their template for their new sound. And they were able to ride that creative crest of that new instrument and that new sound to forge an entirely new music. And I had that same thought in my head while I was out in LA. Man, if I could just get that 7-string, get some of those really deep, low things, combine it with what we were doing, which was combining rap and all of those things. If I'd have been able to get my hands on that at that time, to be right in that moment, maybe jumping the gun before Korn and been on the LA scene with that sound, that could have been the one thing that launched the band, that got us noticed. But look, man, when you're struggling to make ends meet, the reality is you often can't afford the tools that will help better your craft. The modern hustle. Independent artists are doing everything. Now you have to write, produce, film, posting, promoting. And look, man, it is literally, I saw a thing the other day, and I know this isn't right, I know it's not right, but it said that I had been on my phone 8 hours, an average of almost 8 hours each day. And I know that's not right. But when you figure that here I am filming this video on this phone, so technically that's time spent on the phone. If I'm checking my stats each day, if I'm looking at the algorithms, if I'm looking at what's doing well and what's not doing well, it is a full-time job. And even though I'm not essentially selling my music or my artistic creations here on YouTube, even getting this truth out is a full-time job. I'm not just a guy that plays guitar. I'm also a video editor. I'm also a script writer. I'm also a songwriter. I'm also writing riffs. I'm also cooking up grooves, on my DAW. And the reality is I have to be able to do all this. And guess what? When I do all that, after I do all that, then I got to mix the stuff that I work, then put it all into Final Cut and edit video. It's a full-time job doing this. And man, you know what? It's like I left the salt mines of playing live and the ups and downs of doing that and exchanged it for another one. But I like where this one is headed. Why? Because here I'm building my brand. I'm not playing for somebody else whose name is on the marquee and they're giving me a few bucks, enough to make me happy, for a short period of time. I'm building something that is my own. And that perhaps is why this grind is worth it. Now, they told us to be our own label. They just forgot to mention that we'd also have to be our own therapist. And I have to be cognizant of when, hey, it's time to take a break, or it's time to, put my nose to the grindstone, or it's time to push the foot down on the accelerator and go full speed ahead. Because here's the reality. I know that my time is limited. If you're 20 years old and you're in this game, well, you've got plenty of time. That doesn't mean you have time to waste, because things are constantly changing and technology is coming at us at a rapid pace. So if you want to get something established, you better get to work now. Now, here's the reality. Whether you're a live musician or a YouTuber or Instagram or whatever it is, burnout is the new industry standard. But here is the moment of truth. Real talk, most don't make it, but some still do on their terms. You don't have to be famous to be fulfilled. You just have to stay honest. And I think that's an important thing. Your survival strategies that you need to have in place: protect your creativity, set boundaries in what you will do, and learn to redefine success. Success is not the Lamborghini and the private jet. Success is being able to do the work that you want to do, create the art that you want to create, and work when you want to work. That, my friends, is success. Living the dream was always sort of an inside joke that we used on the road when things were going awry. When the bus broke down, when the gig was canceled, when the check bounced, we would say, "Oh, how's everything going today?" "Oh, just living the dream." And that's the reality. You're going to have to learn to redefine your success. Now, there is hope in the wreckage. The next revolution in music won't come from the industry. It'll come from us. They can take the stage, the deal, even the spotlight, but they can't take the song in your heart, right? Unless you sell it. Just like you sell your soul, right? So here's the deal, man. Don't sell out. Make music that you love. Don't chase algorithms. Don't chase clicks. Make music and art that you're proud of. And if the clicks come and the audience comes, then that's just a bonus. You see, the music business will keep spinning its wheels long after most of us are gone. It'll keep promising kids the dream while it quietly drains their wallets and their souls. But here's the truth the suits don't get. You can't kill the song. Every time a kid picks up a guitar in their bedroom or a band loads into a bar for $50 and a couple of beers, that's real music still fighting back. The industry can manipulate, monetize, and mechanize all at once, but it can't fake heart. If you're out there grinding, wondering if it's worth it, it is. But not for their approval or their charts or their playlist. It's worth it because you've got something they can't mass produce, a voice. They can manufacture stars. They can fabricate hits, but they can't fake authenticity. They can't duplicate soul. And they sure as hell can't silence someone who refuses to quit. So yeah, the music business might be built to break you, but that's only if you play by its rules. You don't have to. Play your own game. Build your own audience. Protect your creativity like it's oxygen. Because when you own your art, they don't own you. And in the end, when the lights fade and the crowd goes home and the gear's back in the case, all that really matters is the truth you left in the music. That's the one thing they can't take. That's your legacy. That's rock and roll, the last honest art form standing.